What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel to another video. If you guys are new, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions about today's video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 top reasons why you should plant a deer food plot. So we're going to run over the top 5 reasons on why you should do that. Number 1, it is 100% natural. Food plots are natural browse that we put there. We create them, yes, but it's still, to a deer, it's a green and growing plant, which is natural. It's better than a corn pile or something that you dump on the ground, because when you do that, it's not natural to deer. You got to remember all the people that's hunting in the woods, you know, when it's hunting season. When a deer is walking through the woods, it's getting shot at, it's getting chased off, it's smelling different people, and it's typically near a bait pile. And that deer knows that. It knows when it gets to a corn pile that's dumped in a pile that something might happen if we stick around here too long. It's been shot at over a corn pile. It smells things over the corn pile. It hears different sounds over that corn pile. That's why a food plot is a little bit better as far as, you know, scaring deer, if you can get in and out of that food plot without spooking them. Obviously, a corn pile is just, you know, a pile of corn sitting there is just not natural. A food plot, they can browse throughout that entire plot. It's more natural to them. It's no different than them, you know, browsing in a field somewhere that's been there. It's no different than that. So I'd say the number 1 reason to plant a food plot is because it is 100% natural to deer. Number 2 reason on why you should plant a food plot is it's there 24/7. It's there 24/7 as long as you plant the right species of plants throughout the year. You can have a food plot for 9, 10, 11, 12 months out of the year if you plant the right species of plants. And the reason why you want something there is because, you know, with a feeder or something, you have to go there constantly. You know, refill the feeder, refill the feeder, refill the feeder, replenish the mineral, when that stuff does very little to begin with anyway. But a food plot's there 24/7. When you're not there filling the feeder, the food plot's still working for you. Makes sense? The deer is still eating it. It's coming to it every day. It's feeding on it, you know, 2-3 times a day. Where that feeder is concentrated in a small portion, a small area, it may run out and you may not even know it. You show up 3 weeks later, the feeder's empty. So for those 3 weeks, the deer had nothing, right? So your whole program, supplemental program, you just lost 3 weeks, or, you know, how many ever weeks it was before you were able to get there to refill it, and it's been empty. So a food plot, planting the right species, is working for you 24/7. When you're not there, it's still working for you. When you are there, it's working for you as well. It just works around the clock to provide that deer with more tonnage and a higher quality food source. Number 3 reason on why you should plant a food plot. It has the highest nutritional value of anything else in the woods. Food plots are man-made browse that we create, but you got to think, a food plot, we take that loving care that we put into it, we lime it, we fertilize it, we spray it, we make sure the pH and all that stuff is right. It's touched, you know, it's touched on. It's not just something that's been sitting there for 20-30 years where it's constantly pulling the same nutrients out of the ground and not putting nothing back in. So when we create a food plot, we're rotating crops. We're putting species in that, you know, puts nutrients in the soil. Then we plant things that take nutrients out of the soil. It's a give and take, give, take, give, take. It's fertilized, it's limed. We put care into that. So it's the highest nutritional value of anything in the woods. We don't do that to browse, right? So those food plots have a higher nutritional value than anything in the woods, which in turn is going to provide that deer with a higher micronutrient level, a higher protein level, and just more tonnage overall. Number 4 reason on why you should plant a food plot is because it's therapy. It helps you. You're outside. You're building something to help wildlife. You are creating something to where you go hunting. I have a tree stand right over here. When you go hunting and you see a deer take a bite of something, it's a huge internal feeling of greatness. Not only does it help you learn wildlife, learn habitat, learn what deer like to eat, at certain times of the year, learn what deer don't like to eat certain times of the year. It's therapy. It's mentally, you know, it's good for your mental state of mind. You just get out there, you breathe fresh air, you're on the tractor, you're on the ATV, you're creating something with your hands. And I believe that that's one of the major issues with kids these days. A little bit off topic, but the issue with kids these days is everybody's playing video games. You're watching a screen, the kids, and you're not building anything with your hands. You know, you're not building nothing. When I was a kid, we played, you know, Legos and build the log cabins and the board games, and you're doing something with your hands. And it's the same with food plots. You're spreading that seed, you're spreading the fertilizer, you are working the dirt, you are working on the tractor, you're working on your ATV. It's just good for your mental state of mind. Number 5 reason on why you should plant a food plot is because it is the only way to grow deer year round. Most parts of the country, this is a long one here, but bear with me. Most parts of the country, varies county to county, has more deer than it does food. So in most areas, you'll see that browse line, you know, up here, everything below it, there's no food. That's because there's too many deer and not enough food. So if you have a piece of property and you're actually trying to grow deer, you need actual food, actual tonnage, green tonnage. Deer eat 4, 5, 6, 7 pounds of it per day. So you're not cutting that with natural browse. If you're in an area that's closed canopy forest, there's no food around, the only way that you would be able to do that is through food plots. Supplemental feeding through food plots. If you don't have food plots and you have no browse, you got nothing. You know, you're going to see deer that look skinny, that look sick, that see the ribs are like sunk in, and it's no good. So the only way to actually grow deer is through food, high quality nutritional food. And this goes back to whatever number I listed, 3 or 4, on it's the highest nutritional value in the woods, because it is. We put the lime, we put the fertilizer, we rotate crops, we give and we take from the soil. It's the only way, guys. There's nothing in a bag, you know, that you sling out there, that you dump in a pile or nothing like that, that's going to grow deer. The only way to provide deer with a higher nutritional portion of their diet is through green and growing plants. If you have tons of browse, that's why, you know, land managers and everything is getting more into burns, because you create that fresh growth, that them forbs and browse just flourishes when you do burns and things like that. And it's what deer eat, guys. So that's a higher nutritional value than anything in the woods. Food plots are there 24/7, and it's the only way to grow deer. Hopefully this video helps you guys and gives you some, you know, reasons to plant that food plot. In the next week or so, we're going to do the top 5 reasons not to plant a food plot. Hope you guys follow along.